Hello and welcome back to the channel for another video. Before I get into this video, I just want to state that I'm aware of the allegations that Omnia made in recent times. It was around December last year, I believe. And this video is not being made to deny the seriousness of that. This is made purely about a video called The Commentary Community's Biggest Flaw. Just wanted to interject here. I hadn't read the comments under the video before I recorded this, and it seems that most people are unhappy with a certain aspect of the video that I don't go on to mention in this video, but it's very valid, which is what counts as trauma that should or shouldn't be reported on. For example, Omnia goes on to talk about, which is mentioned later in the video, creepshow art stuff, but says things like cheating and breaking up and stuff like that are all kind of day-to-day things and they don't count as trauma. Although there is a very good discussion to be had that things like heartbreak and cheating, for example, are like casual day-to-day things that she doesn't count as trauma in what she is describing, that are actually traumatic experiences for people, or definitely can be. Heartbreak, for example, Anyway, on with the video. Also, if you do go on to enjoy the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you're new. I'm trying to get the channel to 3K. We're pretty close, so your subscription could be the 3,000, which would be pretty cool. I briefly mentioned Omnia in my coverage of creepshow art last year, which I'll talk about a little bit later, as it's what Omnia was most well known for at the time, and I think it still is, along with other dramas within the art community generally. As you can see, this is Omnia's channel, and this is the video that we're going to be talking about, the commentary community's biggest flaw. You can see that these are most popular uploads. This video is about this video specifically. Now, I've watched the video and I have some thoughts which I want to share. The description does state, what is the commentary community's biggest moral failing? What is the thing that commentary channels on YouTube consistently fail to recognize or respect? In this video, we're going to be discussing the biggest flaw of the YouTube commentary scene, the many examples of said behavior and the ways in which I think we can fix it as commentators and critics alike. So it talks about what is the difference between drama and trauma, and in saying that, why do some people feel the need to make videos about traumatic events and try and profit off of them? Which I think generally, as a video, I get the point. Omnia is someone who has been through a traumatic experience, as I previously mentioned, so their view on this would be different from someone like myself, for example. But one of the main issues I would like to bring up in this is that Omnia mentions a few things, and one of them is creepshow art and Emily Artful. And this is where I kind of have a problem with the video, because Omnia talks about how poorly this was handled by other creators because it was a traumatic experience for Emily. But as I previously mentioned, Omnia is known for their creepshow art series. In fact, there's 5 parts to this series. There's a video about the lolcow drama, or there's another one, and then there's a video about Emily Artful, another video about Emily Artful, and this video. It's pretty hypocritical to have an issue here with the creepshow art and Emily Artful stuff when you yourself profited off of the situation that you're saying that people didn't handle with respect. I do want to, of course, state that I made videos about the situation as well. I made many, I don't know how many exactly. One of them is in fact my most viewed video on this channel. In hindsight, was it a good idea? Yeah, I think. It was interesting to talk about. I don't think that me making those videos was profiting off of the trauma of Emily Artful, especially not to start with. In fact, a lot of my videos about that weren't even about Emily Artful. Especially not to start with. They were about what came out about creepshow art before everyone kind of knew about the Emily Artful stuff. Although when the first Emily Artful video came out, I stayed away from it because I wanted to focus on the other aspects because I felt like everyone else would be covering the Emily Artful stuff, and you don't need my 2 cents on the same thing. You don't need me repeating everything that other people are saying. Like, for example, I went down the route of the DeviantArt thing, which no one else, I think, has spoken about, but that was an interesting angle, and I tried to take different angles on the crypto art stuff because I felt like that was something that I could do that could help the community or people that were interested. It's not a very smart idea to have this as the first section that you talk about when you're saying that people didn't understand like the trauma aspect of Emily Artful and crypto art thing, and then you yourself have made 5 videos about it and profited off of it. Some could say that it in fact made her channel to some extent, or at least I would. I didn't know who Omnia was before the crypto art stuff, for example. I could talk about the hypocrisy with the crypto art stuff and Omnia talking about that being like a bad thing, or how some people handled it at least, but that just invalidates like the majority of, if not the whole video for me. Omnia does then go on to talk about 2 things that I haven't covered: the death of Technoblade and also the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard thing. Omnia's main point, I think, was that people, or commentary channels generally, talking about these things, or some of them were trying to profit off, let's say, the death of Technoblade, for example. And just because someone is hypothetically making a video about Technoblade's death doesn't mean that they're profiting off it, which I don't think Omnia is trying to say that everyone who ever made a video about Technoblade's death is trying to profit off it, because the examples that they give in their video show that it's certain people who are making certain videos trying to kind of exploit it for money. Right? Now, the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard thing as well, I feel like videos about it are kind of important in a way because it means that people could just watch their favorite creator, for example, give like a 15 or 20 minute breakdown of court proceedings rather than them having to sit down and watch like 7 hours of court coverage, for example. I didn't cover the Technoblade stuff or the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard thing. Personally, I don't cover everything, and most people don't cover everything. And I feel like questioning the morality of the commentary community is a bit cool because most of them have things that they won't touch or go near. It was, I believe, the video that Omnia made was a general call out. I didn't cover the Technoblade stuff because I didn't watch Technoblade. I saw the videos about people profiting off of his death. I have mentioned him in at least one video, which was about how another creator was profiting off his cancer diagnosis. I don't really have any reason to make a video about Technoblade's death because I didn't watch Technoblade, and I'd like my content to kind of feel like the person watching can tell that I have some understanding or interest in what I'm talking about. Now, of course, Technoblade is well loved, and I'm sure that his content was great, but I hadn't seen it, so I wouldn't know what I was talking about if I were to cover that. And the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard thing, I didn't have much interest in, and a lot of people were covering it, so it wasn't something that I felt like I could put any 2 cents worth into. I have a video called The Death of Clover's ASMR, which you can see it was one of the earlier videos on this channel, and that video is not monetized. What I try and do personally is if I cover something serious, I am very picky with how I monetize or don't monetize things, because I feel like there's some things that you shouldn't profit off money-wise, at least if you talk about, because it's a bit insensitive, which I think is also kind of what Omnia is trying to say, that people should maybe be more picky about what they cover, for example. But there is also the thing of like triggering other people who have been in similar situations. Omnia does state that the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard case was tricky for them because of what they themselves had been through. Generally, I think that the video is not the best. There's quite a few holes in it, which, as you can imagine, I think that the video does come from a good place though, but it is definitely hypocritical, and I don't know if someone were to point out to Omnia that, hey, you say like this is bad, yet you made like 5 parts on Creepshow art, you know? Like, how is that not profiting off someone else's trauma, which is what you're complaining about in the video that you made? I don't know if that would go anywhere, or there'd be any sense of accountability for Omnia themselves kind of understanding that there's hypocrisy in that, you know? I'm not making this video to say, oh hey, I'm morally grandstanding, you know, because I know that I've covered things that are traumatic situations for other people. You know, I cover what I feel like people or my audience should know about, you know. That's how I go about things. And then sometimes I cover things that maybe you haven't heard of that I think might interest you, you know. That's how I generally do things, and sometimes that's other people's traumatic situations, but I always do my best to handle everything with care. In short, Omnia made a video about the commentary community's biggest flaw, while Omnia themselves made a 5-part video series about Creepshow Art and Emily Art, for which they decided that they would talk about as an instance of people profiting off trauma, in this case Emily Artful's trauma. And yes, Omnia does go on to promote their own series of videos, which is all the more ironic, I suppose. Hey, here's this thing that's like bad that people mishandle, but you know, here's like my 5-part series on that, which is apparently okay, you know. Also, the reason why there's this view of the video instead of the YouTube thing is because I did download this video so that I could watch it while I was offline. I wasn't sure whether or not I was going to do like a reaction to this video and then talk about it as it went on, but I decided that I'd watch through it and then talk about it like this instead. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget, leave a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Try to get to 3K. As always, if you have a video suggestion, let me know in the comments. Always happy to look into things and stuff like that. But yeah, thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Peace.